No, guys, wait. We're not ready to make a TikTok yet. We need to practice some more.
No,
Rehearse tonight. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll record our TikTok then. We're just not ready.
okay, so we'll practice TikTok tonight. Before you go, can I ask you guys a quick question?
Sure.
All right, so I've been doing the writing that we've been talking about, and I've got some ideas, and I've been doing a number of things, except I want to turn one of my writing pieces into a longer piece, but I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way and following the right plan, and I'm not sure I have them in the right order.
So you want to take one of your pieces of writing through the writing process?
Yes, the writing process. That's what I want to do. I've done some of it already. You know, I brainstormed, I had a list. I like Mrs. Rowland's idea of the heart, and I put things I love in my heart. And then I did some fast writes of 2 or 3 things that I like to see to narrow it down. But now I forget which way do I go next. So somebody help me.
Well,
you want to start writing next. You want to write,
and then you want to make sure you
revise.
You guys, stop. My 4th graders know better than that. They raised their hand. You guys were just talking all over each other. I couldn't understand a thing.
Sorry.
Guys, look what I found.
A magic wand?
Yep. And I think I have a way for us to organize all of these great ideas that you guys are trying to share and put them all in one place where we can all use them, including...
Okay, but wait. Before you do any magic, which I love, did you notice? Look at your screen. The 4th graders are out there right now. They're watching us. They're here. So, Mrs. Van Norman, before you wave that magic wand, 4th graders, we want you to do this with us today. So if you don't have your writing journal or your paper with you or whatever you do your writing on and with, pause us and go get it. Okay, go get your writing stuff so you can do it with us today. Got it? Okay, Mrs. Van Norman. We'll see if she's better than I am at magic.
I'm ready.
Wave that magic wand and do your thing.
Ready? Accio whiteboard. That's so awesome. And that was easy. All right, now one at a time. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
All right, so I'll go first. The first thing you want to do is to make sure you generate your ideas. So you have lots of ideas about things that you could write about. Sometimes you're given a topic you have to write about, so you want to find something about that you like. The more ideas you come up with, the better chance you have of finding something that you're really excited to write about.
Okay, good. That I've done. So 4th graders, on your paper, make sure you have that circle at the top of the screen. And in that circle, which you will see, wow, magic. Write, generate ideas. That's the first thing you're going to do. Now, I am pretty sure that the next thing we do is rehearse and plan. And some kids think of rehearsal as sort of like pre-writing. It's getting everything ready to go. Think of a dot to dot. Everybody's done a dot to dot. You take all those dots, just looks like a mess on the page, but when you connect all those dots, it makes a complete picture. That's what rehearsing can do for you. Think of it as practice. If you play a sport and you play soccer or baseball, you practice that craft so that you can get better. And so I know that's what we do. Here, for example, one of the things you can do when you're rehearsing or pre-writing is to make a story map. So on my list, I had probably 10 things. And then I took 10, from those 10 things, I put six of them in my heart. And then I chose California to write about because I was born there and I like it. So I thought, okay, California, there's my main idea. And then I made these. If I write about California, I can write about the plants, the weather, places to visit, Major League Baseball, and the beaches. But then some of them I even had, like Major League Baseball, they have 5 teams there. So I listed the teams. I might want to talk about that. Places to visit. Oh, you might want to talk about the Rose Bowl, Hollywood, La Brea Tar Pits, Disneyland. I do this for me to help me remember these are all things I want to put in it. So that's what I know about rehearsal and planning. And
Right,
those are my
so
examples.
you just got lots of ideas, right, about a topic that you've
Yes.
chosen. And you know exactly what you want to write about. So now you can start drafting. You can start writing your story. Be sure if you're writing a story, you develop your setting and your characters. Lots of times conversation's a really good way to help us get to know your characters. Whether you're writing a story or an informational piece, you want to have lots of great details, good descriptions. You want to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, or an introduction and a conclusion. Those are helpful so that your reader can follow along and not be confused. Don't forget, you also want to make sure that you write in paragraphs whenever you change your topics.
And from there, I think we go to reread, revise, and edit. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know first thing that you do when you have your draft finished is you need to reread it. You need to reread it from beginning to end. And actually, as you're writing day to day, you know, if you're writing for a while on Monday and then you come back to it on Tuesday or Wednesday, you should always read it from the beginning before you add on. And another thing, when you're done with your story and you're rereading it, reread it out loud. Find a spot where no one else can hear you and read it out loud so you can listen to it, because that's one way you can revise or make changes. You'll hear things and think, oh, it would sound better if I add this in there, or if I take this out. That didn't sound like it flowed. And then, of course, you have the editing, which is make sure your things are spelled correctly. You have capital letters, you have paragraphs. That's what you want to do with that part.
Yeah, so the last part of the writing process is sharing your writing and maybe publishing your writing. You know, I was so interested in one of the ideas I generated last week from my heart map that I ended up taking it all the way through the writing process. Would you mind if I shared that with you?
No,
Go
please
for it.
do.
That would be great. So I was generating ideas on the heart map about stories about my little brother, Mark. And these are all memories I've had, experiences I had. And so I took this one about when Mark dropped his wallet by the waterfall. So then when I moved into rehearsal and planning, I actually got online and I looked up the name of that waterfall. It was the Kakabeka Falls, because I wanted to see a picture of it. I hadn't been there in years, and I wanted to see how tall it was. And sure enough, it was big and scary and exciting. And so then I also rehearsed by telling my story out loud to my son. Then I moved into drafting, which is very messy. I just wrote my story all the way through, tried to remember all the details of the beginning, middle, and end. And then I moved to rereading, revising, and editing. And that gets very messy. You can see I even changed my whole beginning. What was going to be the beginning, I circled and I moved it to the middle of my story. And lots of things I crossed out and changed when I was revising. And finally, with publishing, I am sharing that with you. And when we put up there in the circle publishing, one way to publish is just to share it. You don't always have to retype it. Sometimes you can if you want. And so I'm going to share my story with you. And it goes like this.
Wait.
The roar of the waterfall was like a growling beast, so loud that my dad had to yell to be heard. The Kakabeka Falls is 120 feet tall. It's called the Niagara of the North. My family leaned into the fence that separated us from the treacherous drop-off, while my mom and sister and I pointed at the boulders and the white rushing water. My scruffy 7-year-old brother, Mark, climbed up the fence, blonde head leaning over to get a better look. Get down from there, my dad warned as he pulled Mark down from the fence. Do you know how dangerous that is? Mark gave Dad his impish look. Family walked back to our big blue Buick, ready to continue on our trip across Canada. As we three kids climbed into the back seat, Mark became very quiet. I noticed his eyes were welling up with tears. Mom, something's wrong with Mark, I said. What's wrong, honey? Mom said, leaning her arm over the back seat. My wallet, Mark mumbled. What about your wallet? Mark pointed to the waterfall. Where is your wallet? Again, Mark pointed to the roaring beast. You dropped it by the waterfall? Mark nodded, wiping tears. Okay, let's take a look, Dad proclaimed. We all got out of the car and walked across the parking lot to the spot by the waterfall where we had been standing. There it was. Mark's rawhide stitched wallet sat on the ledge on the other side of the fence, inches from the roaring waterfall. Of course, this is where the wallet would end up. Mark was always losing it. Hadn't it been left behind at a Wendy's in California, washed out into the surf in Florida, and even dropped out of the window of a moving car? My dad grabbed a stick and leaned over the fence, dragging the wallet closer with the end. When the wallet was right next to the fence, he climbed up and leaned way over with my mom holding on to him, and he grabbed the sodden wallet. He tossed it to Mark. Hang on to that. Mark grinned sheepishly. Thanks, Dad. We all walked back to the car, settling in for the day's drive. I wonder if everyone else in the car was pondering the same thought. Where will he leave the wallet next?
Oh, I loved it.
I like the ending.
Thank you. It brings back such good memories for me of my family trips to write about my brother Mark. You know, friends, fourth graders, this week we're really excited to hear your stories, and we want you to work through this writing process. So all those ideas you were generating last week on fast writes and heart maps and what ifs, take one of those that you're really interested in, work through this process, do some planning, rehearse it by telling someone about your story, move into drafting and write a beginning, middle, and end, and then reread it and revise it and edit it. And finally, we'll be eager to let you know how you can publish it or share it, and you'll get more information from your fourth grade teachers about that.
That's exciting.
It is. I can't wait. Make sure that you've got this information written down, friends.
Because it won't be there forever.
All right, I'm gonna make it go away, friends. I hope it's in your notebook. Ready? Knox whiteboard.
Woof.
Wow, that was fast.
Magic.
Yes, it was. All right. So the three of you, I will see back tomorrow, the same time. You're going to practice your moves tonight, and we're ready to record that TikTok video.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I like our song.
That ice cold Michelle fight for that white